Electrolytic cell and electrolysis. Electrolytic cell. In electrolytic cell, external source of voltage is used to bring about chemical reaction. The electrochemical processes are of great importance in laboratory and the chemical industry. One of the simplest electrolytic cell consists of two copper strips dipping in an aqueous solution of copper sulfate. Two copper strips are taken and these two copper strips are dipping in aqueous solution of copper sulfate, and one of them acts as anode and another one is acting as cathode, and these cathode and anode are connected to the external source of voltage. Now what happens here? Copper sulfate ionizes to give Cu2 plus ions in the solution. Anode is made up of copper, cathode is also made up of copper. Now these Cu2 plus ions from the solution will go to the cathode. Cation goes to cathode. Cathode is the negative electrode, anode is the positive electrode. So cation goes to the cathode and the reaction taking place at the cathode is Cu2 plus ions which are in aqueous solution will accept 2 electrons and they will change into solid copper, and this copper is deposited on the cathode. Now what is the reaction taking place at the anode? At the anode, the copper atoms from the anode go into the solution as Cu2 plus ion. That is copper, it loses this solid copper, it loses 2 electrons and it changes into Cu2 plus ions. So overall reaction which is taking place here is copper from the anode is getting deposited at the cathode. Now this reaction, this Cu2 plus accepting 2 electrons and changing into solid copper, this is also known as electrochemical reduction. Electrochemical reduction. Overall process is copper from anode is getting deposited at the cathode. So if anode is taken of impure copper and cathode is of pure copper, then what happens? All the copper from anode gets deposited at the cathode, leaving behind the impurities near the anode, and these impurities collect below the anode as anode mud. So this electrochemical reduction can be used for the purification of copper. This is the basis for an industrial process in which impure copper is converted into copper of high purity. Impure copper is made anode that dissolves on passing current, and pure copper is deposited at the cathode. Many metals like sodium, magnesium and aluminium are produced on large scale by electrochemical reduction of their cations, of their respective cations. When no chemical reducing agents are available for the process, then electrochemical reduction is carried out. For example, sodium and magnesium metals will be obtained by the electrolysis of their fused chlorides. For example, sodium chloride and then magnesium chloride. Fused chloride means chlorides taken in the molten state. So molten sodium chloride is taken as electrolyte and sodium atom is obtained at the cathode. Molten magnesium chloride is taken as electrolyte. Magnesium ion again gets deposited at the cathode. Here sodium ion gets deposited at the cathode. Here magnesium ion gets deposited at the cathode. And how is aluminium produced? Aluminium is produced by the electrolysis of aluminium oxide in the presence of cryolite. Aluminium oxide in the presence of cryolite. In this case, aluminium will get deposited at the cathode. Now what is cryolite? Cryolite has molecular formula Na3Al(F6). Why is aluminium oxide used in the presence of cryolite? Because this cryolite reduces the melting point of aluminium oxide. It reduces the melting point of aluminium oxide and helps in the extraction of aluminium.